I talk about every single strike mission, and I rate them on the left side, how fun it is, how I think the design is, if it's a good strike mission, if it's feeling fun to play, if it's annoying, if the mechanics are boring, if it's just buggy, whatever. And on the right side, I will rate them in terms of difficulty. Yeah, it's, as always, my tier lists are my personal take, it's my opinion, but it's really important that you understand that. Yeah. So let's start with probably the Iceberg Saga strike missions, because that's what you think. No, not true. Actually, Old Lion's Court is the first one that you encounter. So that's a core strike mission that you get when you get by the core game, actually. So what do I talk here? I think Old Lion's Court is a decent strike mission. I think from a design perspective, I think it's a very good strike mission. It has nice mechanics, it has tanking, it has damage, it has phases, it has breakbar, it has a nice puzzle. I think it's a very good strike mission. From a design perspective, I think it's fun. I think it favors Condi builds not a lot, because you have almost every 10% you have phases, so I think it's a power-only strike mission. But I think still it's a very good one. For me, we start off with an A tier, I would say. For me, that's an A tier. And I would put the CM with it. I think the CM is, yeah, it's good. I think both of them, I would say, are, for me, A tier. I think they are not that puck-friendly, because pucks are always failing in CM. But in my opinion, it's a very cool strike mission. Just, that's what I want to say. When it comes to difficulty, I would actually put it in medium. I have to be honest. I would put it in medium. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm not sure. Maybe I put this one in easy and the CM in medium. I don't know. Maybe it's hard. I don't know. It's hard to say, because I think it's actually not that hard, but people consistently fail it as pucks. So, I don't know. I'm not so sure. I wouldn't say Old Lion's Court is actually, I'm not sure, is it easy. I think if you can carry them, if you tell them what kind of CCs, so if it's the red one, the green one, or the blue one, if you have to CC them first, I think they're actually decent. And I think if you have someone that helps you there, I think it's both of them are actually decent. I would try with the difficulty to make it somewhat a mix. I don't want to make it completely only pucks, because then I would have to put some CMs in undoable with pucks, which is not what I want to do. I want to say it's doable. It's the difficulty is more for people that want to get into them. So if you want to start with strikes and you want to know, okay, I maybe should not start with Old Lion's Court CM, or would rather start maybe with Anka CM or something like that. I don't know. Just saying. I think that's what I would rate. So I would probably leave it like that. Maybe we change it later, but I would just leave it for now like that, because it's actually doing. I would not puck them really often, because I think, to be honest, pugging them is quite annoying often, because people just fail and die, and I don't know. But I think it's doable. Okay, enough with Old Lion's Court. Let's go to the Icebrute Saga strike missions. So those Icebrute Saga strike missions, we already let's say we have the easiest one is definitely Shivervik Pass. You know, that's actually, that should have a tier of its own. I think you can't fail Shivervik Pass. I have to be honest, I think I never saw someone fail there. I think this has to be actually an own tier. I have to be honest. I mean, that's just a troll at this point. I mean, this is just the ice golem. I don't know. So this is golem. This is definitely the easiest. But I would say not even your virtuoso died. That's good. That's good. Then we know it's perfectly easy. No, I'm joking, of course. So I think from a design perspective, this is a D tier. I think this is, for me, it's boring. I know it's an easy strike mission to start with, so I get that. But for me, I think it's design perspective, it's not good. You know, I don't like it. I think it's okay. It's just boring, you know. For me, as a what is the mechanic here? Nothing. You just stand there and DPS, so that's not good. On the other hand, we have Freyna of Chornoik. I think this one is very easy. It's not golem. It is still higher than Shiver Peaks, but when it comes to how fun I find it is, I think it's a bit annoying. I think from a design perspective, there is not too much that you can do. I think for me, it's a C tier. I think the problem with the Frania is that there is some weird invulnerability all the time, so you have to wait for it, and you can't really face it that often. I think it's annoying. For me, it's annoying. It's better than D tier because you have at least to do something. You have to jump the shockwave, you have to freeze stuff. I think there are some interesting mechanics in there, but it's just annoying mechanics, so that's why it's in C tier. On the other hand, we have the bears. I think the bears, in my opinion, they are really easy, but they are from a B tier because they are actually decent, you know? They are decent from what you have to do. You have to kill them at the same time, otherwise you get a bit punished. They have some knockbacks, they have some reflects. I think from a design perspective, yes, they are very easy, but in my opinion, they are better designed than the Frania. That's my opinion. I think they are really boring, they die very fast, but from a design perspective, the fight itself is more interesting than the Frania. That's my take. Like I said, it's my personal opinion. I can see when someone else would change it. Just my opinion, yeah? Then we have the Whisper. Oh, the Whisper. This one is annoying. So, I think it's harder than the very easy ones, but the thing is, I think the mechanics of the Whisper of Chomag are actually decent. But the bugs bring it in C tier. You know, the bugs of Whisper of Chomag, you actually have to know when you can see it. It's just buggy. You know, it's so buggy that you actually have multiple layers of difficulty added to the Whisper of Chomag because of the bugs. So for me, it's C tier. Otherwise, I would put it in B tier because the chain mechanics, the spread mechanics, they are actually decent. But with the weird strats, and also you can't see it before, let's say, between 30 and 25%, because otherwise it might go invisible, and that it's just, oh, I don't know. It's just really annoying. I think it's a C tier for me from a fun perspective. I do it every day, yes, but it's not something that I'm looking forward to. Speaking of which, the Bone Skinner. The Bone Skinner is easy, still. With the healers, it's still easy. But I think the Bone Skinner from a design perspective is A tier. I think the design perspective, they nailed it. I think this boss has nice attacks. The mechanics you can completely ignore, but the attacks are cool. They are punishing. You actually have some kind of cool design. I think I like the Bone Skinner a lot. I think it's my favorite Iceblood Saga 5 strike mission, for sure. I think if you would do the mechanic, it would be probably close to S tier, because I think the torches make this fight actually really cool. But if there would be a challenge mode where you can't out-heal it, that would be amazing. But in my opinion, I think this is just a test if people have their monitors turned on and can sidestep it. I think I did Bone Skinner the last week, every day, and I did not dodge a single time. Because if you just sidestep the attacks, you are completely fine. So I think it's a very easy boss if you have two healers and they know what you're doing. But in my opinion, I don't know. I just think it's decent. I think it's low A tier from a design perspective. Maybe high B tier, something like that. Cold War is, I would say, easy, because the end boss actually kills people. But for me, Cold War is D tier. I think from a design perspective, I can see why you want to have some kind of, I don't know, some kind of defense event, but it's just too long. The end boss fight is okay, but the pre-event is just annoying. It's just too long, in my opinion. I don't see why this is actually a strike mission that you have to do weekly. I think it's just very annoying. Every time I do it, it's just annoying. I don't like it. I do it once a week and that's it. Yeah, Forged, like Snowdrop Fox points out, Cold War and Forged Steel are just rate amount of how long they are, but they don't give you any rewards for that, or not that much at least, and they are not that fun. Typically, raid boss fights have some nice mechanics to make it shorter, at least from the feeling, but they are just very annoying. So we're talking already about Forging Steel. I think Forging Steel in normal mode is actually easy. The CM is actually not to be underestimated. I would say if you turn on all CMs, that's actually maybe even in hard tier. I think if you turn on all CMs, it's actually really, really hard. There's no reason to actually do it. Not really, but it's really, really good from the difficulty level. I would say it's really hard. I'm not sure if it's in hard or medium. Let's see what else we put there, but I think this is really, really hard. For sure the hardest here. I don't like it too much. I think Forged Steel is okay. For me, it's Forging Steel is both. I would say, actually, the CM is D tier because it makes it longer and more annoying. I don't like it. I think the Forging Steel is for me C tier because it's decent. It feels better than Cold War, in my opinion. But it's also quite long. I don't know. Maybe all of them are D tier. I don't know. I don't do it because I don't know. Maybe it's D tier as well. I don't know. I don't like it too much. Okay, then let's talk about Secret Layer of the Snowman. That's actually funny that it's included here. It's the strike mission that we only get during Winter Stay. I think this one is actually easy, but it's not very easy. You actually can die to it because people can fuck it up. I think I actually like it. I have to be honest. I think this one is actually B tier for me. I think this is a nicely designed fight. I have to be honest. I like it. It is nice. It has some interesting mechanics with the ball, with the ice lasers thing. I think it's decent. I don't like the pre-event too much, but the actual event, actual boss is actually, I like it. I think it's a B tier boss for me. I think it's decent. It's a low B tier, but it's, I think, better than Frania of Chormak, for sure. Yeah. And I'm not sure if it's better than Whisper of Chormak, but it's not as buggy, so that has to be better than better than C tier for that. Yeah, I think that's true. The intern that actually created that actually gave the birth for strike missions. So true point here by Snowdrop. I think that is actually a good argument why this is that's a precursor of all the strike missions and it's actually one of the better ones. So they actually failed to recreate the intern project. So that's interesting for sure. Okay, so now let's go to the actual EOD strike missions. So now it gets a little bit spicy. So we start with Aetherblade Hideout. I think the Aetherblade Hideout strike mission is, I would say, still easy. I would put it in easy. It is not that hard to do, even if you don't know too much about the fight, especially nowadays. You just stand where the group stands and you will be fine. From a design perspective, I have to be honest, I think this is just a CC and a long, annoying boss with a lot of phases. I don't know. I think this is a strike mission that is, from a design perspective, not that great. I think it has a lot of mechanics and not a lot of attacks. I don't like it when strike missions are like that. I like to have bosses that have mechanics while still having attacks, you know? I think for me it's a lot of time gates in the boss. I don't like that. But I think in general it has at least something to do. It's more like a golem. So I think just for that, because of how I like it a little bit better, I would put it for that in B tier. I think for me it's a high B tier. It's not as fun as the A tier bosses for me, but it's something that I like to do. Yeah. Really? You think it's the perfect one? I think I agree in the terms of difficulty. I think in terms of difficulty, I agree it's the perfect one. But in terms of design, I personally don't like it too much. It has too many mechanics, too much time gate, without any real attack most of the time. There are 2 attacks that are challenging. I think the difficulty is perfect. I agree. The difficulty, that's how strike missions should be for the most part, the normal mode ones. But when it comes to the challenge mode, I think the challenge mode I would actually put in medium, because people can fuck it up easy, really easy. You get one person gets targeted, doesn't know how to do the mechanic with the bomb, and you have to reset. So that's why it's in medium, only because of that. I think the design of the CM is actually for me, come on. I think the design is for me A tier, because the challenge mode actually makes the fight, the time mechanic and that stuff, a little bit more interesting. You get more punished, you have to stand in the green circles. I like it. I think it's a way better CM than a lot of other CMs. You can see the difference there. It has some weird bugs, I agree. I think bugs are in the EOD strike missions a very frequent thing. Not as frequent as with the Whisper of Chormak, but still very frequent, so that's true. But for me, it's an A tier. I like the CM. I think it's too mechanics heavy to be an A tier, but an S tier. But I think it's still a decent designed strike mission CM. I think from a design perspective, I'm happy with it. Old Lions Court is not EOD. It's actually core game. It came out, I think, after the EOD ones, but it's core. That's really weird. but that's just how they did it because it was bundled into the Return to achievements, I think, at some point. Really weird, but that's just how it works. Okay, next up we have the Anchor strike mission. I'm not sure. I think Anchor CM from the difficulty is also easy. That much is for sure. But where would I put it from a design perspective? That's hard. That's really hard. Because I think it has the jumps with walking around. I think that's annoying. But I like that we have to bring some CC. You have the pull mechanics. I think... I don't know. I think... For me, it's a B tier strike mission. I think it's not as good. Maybe... Yeah, it's B tier. I think it's not as fun as A tier strike missions just because it's a little bit annoying. It's also feels like a golem most of the time other than the pull mechanics of those ads. I don't know. I think for me it's a B tier. The CM, I actually think the CM is a decent CM. Again, I think the CM is better than normal one. And I think it would put it in A tier. I think the design of the CM is way more interesting. I think the CM might be similar to Aetherblade Hideout. I think they are quite similar in how I would rate them from a design perspective. You get more things to do, you have to take care. There is actually the achievement in the CM actually that makes it even harder. I think that's a really cool thing. But other than that, I would say A tier. Yeah. And the difficulty for is also medium, I would say. The CM one is actually medium. I think it's the CM is actually, I agree, I think the CM is probably better than most of the stuff here. I'm not sure if, I think Old Lion's Court from a design perspective is probably better. I actually like Old Lion's Court a lot. I have to be honest. I really, really like that one because I think it's actually, I like it. I think it's just a very good design strike mission. That's why I would put those actually higher than the Sunlai CM. I have to be honest, it's just my take. Okay, next up. Oh, now it gets actually interesting. Kaineng Overlook. So Kaineng Overlook, people can still fail because they just want to do it once for the turtle. You need to do it for the turtle mount. So can I put it in easy or have to put it in medium because people still didn't do it, you know? Is it really medium? I think it's not that hard. You know, there are some mechanics to do, but is it really medium? I mean, it's not on the same level as Old Lion's Court CM, is it? I don't know. It's somewhere between easy and medium. I agree with that, but is it really medium? I don't know. It's not that hard. Yeah, maybe with the mech and the sniper mechanic. I mean, they always die. I don't know. It's such a meme. It's such a meme. If you join a group that wants to unlock the turtle mount, I'm not sure if you're up for the patience that you need to do that. You know, 5 hours or something of grinding this. It's annoying. It's really crazy. I don't know. It's I'm not sure. I'm not so sure. But yeah, I think I leave it there for now. So from a design perspective, I think actually the design of this fight is, for me, A tier. I think actually for me the Kaineng Overlook is A tier because you have a lot of interesting mechanics in the fight. It makes it more interesting than just having a boss that teleports after a few phases. I think for me it's a good design. It has multiple mini bosses in it that they're all different with the mechanics. I really like this. I think the telegraphing is a little bit weird, I have to say, but I think it's decent. And that's why I also think the Kaineng Overlook CM is probably one of the best CMs they did from a design perspective. I would say that's for me a high A tier because it makes it more punishing if you get knocked back because there are no walls. For me, it's the highest A tier. It's not S tier yet because it is still not perfect, but I think it's a nice CM. It's punishing. It has some nice cool additional mechanics in the CM. I think the Kaineng Overlook CM is also hard. I think it's for me hard because it's not as hard as Harvest Temple, for example, but it's still quite hard. I would say from a design perspective and from a challenge perspective, I would say Kaineng Overlook is for hardcore players a very good CM. For casual players, I think that's the cut where you can't do it anymore. I think people that are casually playing it, this challenge mode is actually too hard. That's my take. I think people typically go to medium, and then you have a high drop-off of people that really go harder than that. I think that's my take on it. But it doesn't make this actually less fun. I think it's still a very fun and very well-designed tier. Keine Overlook. I think it's really good. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe someone else has a different opinion, but I think it's a really good one. Strike mission. Okay, and then up we have Harvest Temple. Oh boy. I think Harvest Temple normal mode is what's the difficulty of that one? I personally think it's really easy. You know, it has a lot of mechanics, but they are all not that hard. But to be honest, I see so many people fail to the orb at the end all the time. I have to put it actually in hard. You know, I don't know. I think it's not as hard as Skyning Overlook, but people consistently fail to that shit. It's crazy. I don't know. You have to go into some kind of 250 LI group to make sure that people don't die, and even there they die. I don't know. It feels so bad because it's actually so well designed, in my opinion. For me, Harvest Temple is an S tier. I like that. It's such a good designed boss. It has multiple phases. It has multiple bosses. It's very clear. The telegraphing is a little bit off sometimes, but it's cool new mechanics. For me, it's an S tier strike mission. It's really cool. And of course, Harvest Temple CM goes in S tier as well, because it's such a good fight. For me, it's really, really good. I agree with you, Echo Fox, there, that I think that the fun can be really hindered by those people that die consistently to it. But I think it is, from a design perspective, such a good fight that I have to put both of them in S tier. It's really good, you know. But I would say actually it's hard, I think, for normal people, because they just fail and do not do the reflex. They die to the jumps consistently. You know, look, not even the ball is the problem of sometimes people just die to the Morthromoth slam with the head, you know, of the shockwave. They just don't jump it, don't dodge it, don't have stability. There are so many mechanics that are punishing people for sleeping. So, I don't know. I think it's just, for me, it's hard to puck. But I personally think it's actually, for me, it's actually really easy. I don't know. I really don't know. But that's why I put it here. Of course, Harvest Temple CM is very hard. We know that. We had a world's first race for that one. I think it's totally cool that we have that. We are totally happy about that. But it's not for the casual people. You have to really have some dedicated group to actually do it or buy it. That's true. But I would say I'm talking here about really achieving it. So I would put it in very hard. No doubts about that. Like I said, I think both of the CM and normal mode, I would put in S tier, just because I think both of them are very nice. I think they are really good design. Okay, enough about Harvest Temple, enough about EOD strikes. Let's talk about the big elephant in the room. Let's talk about the best content they ever put out. Soto strike missions. Let's go. Cosmic Observatory. Easy. Maybe it's not very easy. Maybe it's easy. I think people die to that more consistently than the other ones. I think Cosmic Observatory is D tier from a design perspective. I think there's only one mechanic that I think is good. That's the arrow mechanic, but that's about it. But other than that, I think it's horrible. And I have to be honest, I think the CM is also horrible, because the CM doesn't add anything. It makes it very annoying, and people die to those fiend, but that's it. And I think for me, it's D tier. I can see why you like it, but I think it's just horrible. For me, Dagda is probably the worst challenge mode they ever added. You know, it's just annoying. It's just annoying. And from a difficulty, I would say the challenge mode is actually not difficult. I would say the challenge mode is maybe medium, maybe easy, depends on the group. But I would say, I don't know. I think for me it's high, easy, maybe low, medium. I would say put it in low, medium, just because people consistently fail Overlook. They also will probably fail the KO CM. But I think it's the worst CM, and it's also hard to rate from the difficulty, because if people see the red big thing, then they run away. That's good. If they don't see it, for whatever reason, I don't know, maybe the monitor's turned off, then they die. I don't know. I think it's I don't know. For me, it's I don't like it. I just don't like it. I actually don't do it a lot just because I don't like it. And now we go to the last strike mission, Temple of Febe. So this is Ceres, and I think normal mode Ceres is actually easy, but it's not as easy as the very easy ones. Yeah, I think it's still easy. You can die to it. I know people that die to the CC. I know that people that fail the orb collecting and the stuff, and you get one shot by the burst phase in the 10%. But I think it's still an easy strike mission. When it comes to design, I think it's for me B tier, the normal mode. I think the normal mode is not that crazy. I have to be honest. I think the normal mode is decent from a design, but it feels more like you have a big health bar and you have to get through it, and otherwise you ignore most of the mechanics. You know, you run around once and that's it. You've spread with the orbs and that's it. I think it's fun, but it feels like a golem. I agree with you, Courier, that I do all the strike missions that feel like a golem because I like to have some golems in there. But I'm talking about the design. And if I talk about the design, I don't want to have a golem all the time, you know? I don't know. I'm just... I just think it's a B tier for me. When it comes to CM and LCM, they are not that much different. There's just small differences between them. So the LCM is even harder. It's on the, let's say, challenge mode of Harvest Temple. So I would say for me it's also, of course, very hard. And I would also put actually the normal CM probably in very hard. I have to be honest. Something like that. Maybe. I don't know. From a design perspective, I have to be honest. I'm not sure if Temple of Febe is actually as good as Harvest Temple. I have to be honest. Even the challenge mods. I think they are very good. I personally don't think it's actually that crazy good. I think they are very punishing. They have nice mechanics in the just how you have to deal with it. That you have to empower one to actually not empower the other ones. I think that makes sense. I think that's good. But in general, the mechanics themselves, I think, are not as crazy. Maybe I put them in S tier just because they are actually still very good. But I don't know. I personally have to say, I would say it's A tier for me. I think it's A tier from a design. I think only Harvest Temple deserves S tier from a design. Just because it's way better. It has so many different phases. It's so many different things that you have to think. I don't know. I think for me, that's actually how I would put it. Yeah. I might have people in the chat disagreeing with me here. Please let me know in the comments in the chat. But I personally think that's my tier list. Yeah. I think we have a lot of medium strike missions in A and B from a design perspective. We have a lot of easy and medium strike missions in terms of difficulty. But on the top hand, with the hard and the really cool design, we don't have a lot of strike missions. We have a lot of shit strike missions in terms of design, I have to admit that. But I guess we get, I mean, I'm happy to get anything. So I'm happy that we have that many strike missions. I mean, I hope you see that's somewhat similar with me. I think I can agree with you, Echo Fox, that the Harvest Temple can be really unfun if you have a bad group. But if you just look at the design, I think it's really cool. You have really interesting new mechanics in the fight that makes it interesting to play it. I agree it can feel really bad when it comes to how the people are performing in it. Yes, but I'm just looking at the design. Yeah. Maybe we can do a Harvest Temple normal mode run and explain every single mechanic why we do it. And then you can actually understand what I mean, why it's so good. Because you have so cool just mechanics. If you understand them, it's really fun. And every single dragon has different mechanics. I really like that. So I don't know, it's just my take. I hope you enjoyed this quick tier list. If you did, be sure to leave a like. And if you're a tier list enjoyer such as me, don't forget to subscribe for more tier lists and more Guild Wars 2 content in the future. Thanks for watching. Thanks to all my supporters on YouTube, Twitch and Patreon. Thanks Lane. Thanks Malice. And I hope to see you all in the next video.